Well, hope everyone's doing well, having a good Christmas Eve. It's December 24th. And if you'll recall, or maybe you won't, that's fine. We did our 20,000 mile review on this truck about a month ago. It's got 25,000 miles now because it just came back to the Midwest from the San Diego area. And it'll spend the winter here and who knows how much longer. But we mentioned something in that 20,000 mile review that was a problem that had happened. And it was the fact that the sound system was not producing any volume at all. And we had actually, before we mentioned that, we'd actually done a little bit of searching around and Googling, and we'd found some forums post from a couple of years ago, from actually not the 2021, but a previous version of this F-150, maybe the 2018. And they had lost all their sound volume too. And what somebody said, buried like 4 or 5 deep in the answers, was that the issue was that the amp needed to be reset, the audio amp. And so we read that and we thought, okay, fine, no big deal, we'll reset the audio amp. But it took a little bit more digging, and let's show you here. This truck does not have a physical owner's manual. And so you got to go to the virtual owner's manual, which takes a little while to come up, and it's a fuse that you have to pull to reset the audio amp. So you type fuses to figure out which one. And there's no enter or search button. Well, there's no enter button, I should say. And so it doesn't really tell you too much about it, but you kind of look through there, and it says identifying the fuses in the body control module fuse box. It doesn't tell you where that is. You just have to know that it's just forward of the door panel on the passenger side. You just have to know that. And then you kind of scroll down, and you find that it's the number 28 fuse, and it's a 30 amp, and it's for the audio amplifier. And so that's what you have to go on. Again, in this so-called owner's manual, it doesn't tell you anywhere, anything about where the fuse is. The fuse box is, I should say. It talks about the fuse types and all that, but it doesn't say, hey, your fuse box, specifically for this one, is just ahead, just forward of the passenger door panel. And it talks about the body control module fuse box, okay? And so again, it's the number 28, which you see right there. Although the problem is, once you get inside there, which we will in a second, there's no way to correlate this information with that. So you just have to either snap a photo of it while you're here, or what we did was we dug into, we did a little more searching on Google. And again, without knowing that that's the body control module fuse box, you might think, well, it's the underhood fuse box. Well, let's show you what that is. So the underhood fuse box is right there, just behind the 12-volt battery. And you open it up, and it's a bit of a disappointment because there's no diagram anywhere to explain to you what those fuses are. And as we just mentioned, the owner's manual doesn't even talk about the underhood fuse box. And then there's this little line that you can see there. It's kind of in the way, and it's easy to kind of pinch it. This little line right here. And so that's just kind of annoying, but, and there isn't a fuse puller either. So then, just because you happen to know it, or through your powers of ESP, you go in here to the so-called body control module fuse box. Open up that door there, which is a little bit awkward. And then you look under there, and again, the door doesn't have any kind of a diagram as to what's what. It just has a little picture, and essentially that picture means check the owner's manual. And so, again, you have to go back to that picture, which has since disappeared, on the owner's manual, the so-called owner's manual, and try to correlate it. And here's the short answer, which you can't really see too well because of how dark it is under here. But that fuse right there. This is ridiculous. But it's a green fuse, and it's a 30 amp. And it's right above, again, this one right here, and it's right above a 10 and a 15. And then you got to go get a set of pliers and yank it out, and you'll discover that it's actually not burned out. The fuse hasn't been popped. You just need to pull it and then put it back in, and then get this door back on there, or this cover back on there. Again, there's no diagram on the cover. There's no fuse puller. And so the whole process is kind of annoying. You have to do your own research. And Ford seems to not really have a lot of interest in making it easier for you. And you see this stupid door here. It takes a lot of doing to get it to want to go back on properly. I'm not going to call it a pain in the ass, just going to say it's a little bit of a hassle. And this was not designed for, okay, there it goes, ease of use. But that's the process to reset the audio amp on your 2021 F-150 so that your sound works. And this is not explained anywhere in the manual. The existence of that fuse box, you just have to know it's there. They don't talk at all about the under hood fuse box either. There's no diagrams on the lids. There's no fuse pullers. It's just kind of, you know, sink or swim, fend for yourself. But there it is. Now our audio works perfectly fine. You know, you hit the controls, the audio volume goes up, you know, with the controls on the steering wheel, the control knob, same thing. And it's good to go now. As good as new. Hopefully this will help somebody who has this same problem happen to you. All right, we'll talk to you later. Have a great Christmas, everyone.